Dismas Fellowship in Hamilton is a faith-based gathering and is one of several Dismas groups across southern Ontario that bring released offenders, friends, and volunteers together in fellowship to share a meal and an interactive program that invites stories and insights. This is a story of how a retired church pew can inspire us on the value of restorative living and restorative justice.
Our journey started with the first paint strokes. It was harder than you might think. We stood back with white primer on our brushes, struggling to paint over the beautiful wood grain. Even though this pew had lost its intended purpose, it tells its own story. First a seed, then a tree, then shaped by carpenters to become a chair for worshipers. We wanted this bench to reflect something of our own longing to find freedom from both the prisons of bars and concrete and the prisons of our mind, body, and spirit. So we started painting.
Some of us decided painting someone looking out from behind bars would be a great first frame. Then came our first controversy. With the bars painted in, there was a reaction from some painters whose memories of being behind bars were triggered. One person said, "If this is about freedom, we can't paint someone permanently behind bars." To live restoratively means to listen, learn, and respond. So it was refreshing to watch one of the core members paint over the bars. Another core member started drawing the Kingston pen, now closed, and then our freedom journeyman leaves prison by himself to go into a taxi.
Some believe that leaving prison and returning to community is a journey of freedom, but for many, returning to a community where they are likely to face poverty, temptations, being found out, then rejected, is much harder and scarier than the structured life they experienced in jail. I am a person on my own journey to reconnect with my Indigenous roots. I offered to paint a canoe. We felt there was no better way to illustrate the peace that comes when we live in harmony with creation. This solitude is very different from the isolation of being in prison, separated from family and community. When you canoe, you learn that the journey to freedom is not just an outward journey with outward barriers, but an inward journey with inward barriers.
The man is now leaning against a tree resting. He's resting not at the end of a journey, but as a pause for reflection, prayer, and rest. The journey toward freedom is never a straight line. We move forward, we slip back. However, periods of solitude and rest allow us to return to our community with a greater capacity to love and to be loved. One of our painters had the marvelous idea of painting a tree and inviting anyone who comes by as we're painting to leave their thumbprint. Each person's fingerprint is like a stamp identifying their uniqueness. No two fingerprints are the same. It is ironic and sad that our stamp of uniqueness and identity is so closely associated with criminal activity.
We appreciated the awkward hesitation from some whose last experience of leaving a fingerprint was at a police station. We invited friends from our community to imprint their stamp of uniqueness to become a leaf, along with the leaves of many others. The image here of a canopy of fingerprints beautifully shows the transformative power of creativity so that beauty can come out of brokenness. And a fingerprint that has been a symbol of past wrongs can, if we choose, contribute to growth, belonging, and community.